How have you guys been feeling lately? Happy one moment, depressed the next, feeling on top of the world, and then all of a sudden feeling really discouraged? Trust me, you're not alone. I drew up a chart. This is the astrology for October 11th through the 17th, the technical stuff. My name is Erin, and this is Queen Bee Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me. This is a chart for the new moon in Libra on Friday. And I just wanted to show this because there's a nice little color-coded way of showing things. See this red? We've got some really difficult angles. Those are called squares and oppositions that show up as red. So a square is like an obstacle like this, like a step that you have to get over to learn something. And the biggest obstacle happening this week started as an exact formation on Friday, and it's Mars square Pluto. So Mars is our ego and our will and our drive and how we try to accomplish stuff out there in the world. And right now Mars is retrograde, which means that we're feeling like we're just being held back, like nothing's happening, nothing's working. So much frustration. And then in this square, presenting an obstacle, is Pluto. And Pluto just started moving forwards. And Pluto is all about that which is hidden and a little bit darker. It's kind of our karma, it's life, death, rebirth, and it's also how we behave in the worst of our moments. You see, Pluto, when it starts to form angles, really brings out the worst of us. And Pluto square Mars means that when we are feeling restricted and we're feeling like nothing's working out, how are we behaving? And the worst side of us, depending on who you are, is definitely coming out. And it wasn't just this hard angle on Friday. You see, it's actually an angle that's going to have an influence for almost an entire month. So that means egos are going to be at an all-time high, and people are likely to be freaking out. Now, we have a choice in all of these moments. I want to talk about the blue. The blue lines. We've got a beautiful grand trine right here, and it's between Venus, Uranus, and Jupiter. So Venus is how we seek love, seek beauty, and nurture relationships. Uranus is about change, upheaval, thinking outside of the box, doing things differently. And Jupiter is how we expand and learn things. So having a grand trine between the three of them means that behind all of this chaos and behind all of these ego battles and people freaking out, there's an opportunity to center and find ourselves in kind of like the eye of the storm. If you imagine a hurricane and all this energy is going on around us, you have the choice of joining in and being swept up in it, or you can take a step back, take some deep breaths, and be mindful of your energy and your space. So that choice is the focus of this week. When we have these two major situations happening, this creation of tension and an opportunity to step back and find center, it is an opportunity to grow, and it's also a step towards enlightenment. So depending on how you react, when you're squeezed, all of us are going to have moments where our worst comes out. No matter how enlightened you are, this week is going to test you. So just go with it. And when the worst comes out, be humble. Look at it. Don't hide from it. Don't go, oh, I didn't do that, blah, 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 and try and make excuses for yourself. No. This is an opportunity to really grow. So if the worst comes out in you, notice it and work on it. And if the worst comes out in someone else, try as much as you can to extend compassion without breaking your boundaries, right? I mean, you want to be there and hold space for people, but you also don't want to take on their stuff, right? So if you see somebody else having a really hard time and having their worst come out, just be mindful it's a tough week for everybody. So Mercury retrograde on Tuesday is going to have us rethinking all things Scorpio. So that's life, death, rebirth, karma, and that which we have inherited. So any of our belief systems, any of our core values that we have gotten from the adults that raised us, or the people that we hold close to our heart, all of those things are going to be called into question, because our measure of success versus failure is based on what we've been taught, how we've been raised to hold things dear or make things a priority. So in the beginning of the week, we've got this Mercury retrograde starting off, and it's not going to be too bad at first. But then over the next few weeks, tensions are going to be high, and we're all going to be having to release that which is holding us back, refresh our perspective, and really get clear about what reality is rather than attaching a story to it. At the end of the week, we've got a new moon in Libra. So a new moon is a time for new beginnings, fresh starts, and Libra is an air sign. It's also the only sign represented by an inanimate object, the scales, and it represents give and take, balance, but also focus on relationships. So basically what we're going to be seeing with this new moon cycle happening in Libra is that while we are kind of reconsidering all of that karmic stuff we've got going on in our lifetimes, the biggest place we're going to see that reflection is within relationships. So it's going to be how we deal with people, and we may or may not like what we see, but as long as you try not to overreact and just take it as a learning opportunity, remember, don't get swept up in the hurricane, find your center and take lots of deep breaths. So thanks so much for joining me for the in-depth astrology this week. This is Erin here at Queen Bee Tarot. Like and follow for all the latest videos. And I did just post horoscopes, so make sure to check those out. Also, when you read the horoscope, if you know it, look up your moon sign and your rising sign. And if you don't know what your moon and rising sign are, I'll help you find out. So comment below or send me a message. I love talking astrology. I wish you guys all the best. Stay cool this week. Try not to freak out. We'll get through this. Bye, guys.